Hi there, I'm Rod Bergeron and welcome back to another quick and easy watercolor painting. Today we're going to be working on some stuff that's sort of from the northern Ontario. I'm wetting the top 2/3 of the page here, and we're going to pick up some blue and we're going to get some long, very intense streaks of blue going across there like that. And, you know, as usual, we're just going to let this bleed to wherever it is it's going to bleed to. I'm going to rinse my brush off really well. And I'm going to pick up some red. So this is just crimson. And we're going to put quite a bit of red across here. And you'll see as soon as I touched it into that blue, it started to turn purple. And that's what we're going here for today, okay? We're going for this real mixture of colors. And I'm going to put a little bit of this here also, okay? Because we're going to have sort of a hill coming down to some water. All right, so rinse your brush out really well, and we're going to mix up some yellow fairly intensely, okay? And we're just going to touch the yellow into our red there, and we're going to touch the yellow into our red here, okay? And we're going to pick up some yellow ochre, again, fairly intensely, and put a little bit of yellow ochre into some places like that. Now, take your brush, and we're going to make some foreground across here. Fairly intense yellow ochre. And then don't rinse this brush out. Touch this brush right into your sienna, okay? And grab some sienna and drop some sienna in there. You could even put some sienna in here in a few places if you want to. You're trying to keep it from not being too muddy though, all right? Okay, so a little bit more intense. All right, and then we're gonna grab our, this is my #1 watercolor brush, and those of you that have seen me before, see I took a utility knife and I sharpened one end of it here. Now you don't have to use a utility knife on your paintbrush. You can, you know, you can just go get a wooden, you know, this is a wooden barbecue skewer. You could use a wooden toothpick. You could use anything wooden, I would say. Probably try not to use anything that's metal, because it'll just cut into your page, okay? All right, so rinse your big brush off. You know, I'm using a 3/4 inch flat here. Rinse your big brush off, and we're gonna paint the water across here, okay? So the objective is to go from one side all the way to the other. So you don't want to use a small brush like this. It won't hold enough paint, it won't hold enough water, and it won't stay wet enough to go all the way across, okay? So rinse your brush off, don't knock all the water out of it, and then pick up quite a bit of paint. You want this to be fairly intense too. So the objective is I'm trying to get this paint to run into the blue, and maybe some of this to run up into the blue also. All right, so we're just going to drag it across, and we're going to twist it to make it fit through that gap. All right, here we go. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I didn't get all the way down here, so I'm just going to go back and just going to touch it across there. Don't try to do too much more than that too. See how this is bleeding up there, and that started to come down into there? That's going to create the reflection in the water that we're looking for. All right, so one last little thing. We're going to take our salt. This is just regular table salt. Put a little bit in those, and maybe a little bit across the bottom here. Wherever it is that you want some drama in your painting, I would suggest you not put it all the way across everything. And I would also suggest to you to not touch your paintbrush to this until it dries and you've knocked all that off, okay? All right, let's let this dry and see what happens. Remember, it's an experiment. It might not turn out. It's okay. It's just a piece of paper. All right, let's see what happens. All right, let's check this out. Look at what the salt has done for us here. That's marvelous. And this salt. So my idea is that we're going to turn this into like a hill that's coming down this way, this is going to be a bit of an island, so I'm going to use my Sharpie pen, and I'm going to just install a bit of a shoreline over to here, and then this is going to be a second shoreline here. Okay, so I double up these lines like that, and on here I'm going to put several pine trees, make a couple that are a little bit taller, just like that. I'm going to install a bit of a rocky sort of outcropping along there, and for this one we're going to put a couple of smaller trees down here near the bottom, a couple of taller pine trees up in here, maybe another one here. You know, it's your painting, it's your little world, so however it is that you want your pine trees to be, that's the way that you should make them. All right, so I'm going to take this #1 watercolor brush, and I have a little bit of Payne's gray on here, and we're just going to sort of start at the bottom, and we're going to go up the tree, and you're going to have to go back and pick up paint quite often, but don't touch the previous dot. Okay, so pick up some Payne's gray, and don't touch the previous dot, and work from the bottom to the top is generally how I do it. But if you want to do it a different way, of course, it's your painting, you go for it. Okay, so I got like a first layer on there, which is all I was really going for here with that very light sort of wash. But what we're going to do now is we're going to install some, some rocks coming down to the shoreline here. And we're also going to make some rocks sort of coming up here and down to this island. Now, don't pick up any more water, okay, and put this right onto your Payne's gray. And when you do that, it should be slightly more intense. And when you double up that line with that slightly more intense paint, it gives you this sort of a, it gives you this sort of a very rocky kind of a feel. And you can do that several times if you want, down along there, and create. Again, I'm not picking up any more, no more water, just touching it, touching my damp brush onto the pigment. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now we need to revisit these trees. And I'm going to rinse my brush off, and this time I'm going to go over these trees with some of this green. So this is sap green, okay? And again, I'm going to try to touch where I haven't touched before. So that should be your mission, is to make a dot where, put a dot in an area that there's not previously been a dot. And go again from the bottom to the top. And this is sap green, so it's not very dark. All right, now I'm going to take this sap green and I'm going to go in a few places where I was making my line come down to the shoreline. Maybe even put a few places in here of some green. All right, now we need a dark in these trees. So my suggestion is going to be rinse your brush out really, really well and pick up some Payne's gray. Now you could do this with blue, you could do this with whatever color it is that you want to do it with, but this has to be quite a bit darker than everything that you already have on there, okay? And it's going to be much fewer times that you're going to touch the page, because you're just trying to sort of highlight the tree a little bit more. Give it that little punch of darkness that will make it stand out on the page. And building up layers like this is a great way to build depth into your painting. All right, let's put our mat on here and see what we get. Yeah, that turned out pretty cool. Look at this sky in the background back here. Yeah, this is great. And then these trees really do look like they're coming down this little bit of a hill. You know, if you want to keep building up the layers on the trees or building up the layers on the island or whatever, look at this island. It really looks like there's some little trees in the background that are adding all this color to it. And our foreground right here is working really well for us. All right, thanks a lot for watching today. I hope you give this a try. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you're from. So if you could drop me a line in the comment section and let me know where you're from, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.